Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about a very important and very specific point about the reason why men and women are so mistrusting of each other generally today, why they're so separated, why they're so antagonistic. And people will sort of dismiss this as an irrelevant part of civilization and moving forward in terms of progress. But it's the fact that men and women are actually competing with each other. Now just really stay focused on that point, because that's the whole point of this video. That you cannot trust that which you compete with. If I'm competing with women out there in society and they're always against me and telling me how I need to do better, how I'm not doing enough, they're acting like someone at my work. I feel like I'm at a performance review all the time, and so I'm always competing with them out there, politically, economically. Think about how that affects your personal life, your social life. If you're a kind of person that wants to have a family, you're more traditionally inclined and, let's face it, biologically inclined, like the thing we all are. You have a gravitation toward caring for women, wanting to be open, vulnerable, intimate, create a family, and keep extending that softness and vulnerability towards children, towards caring for society by extension, and all that kind of good stuff that we used to have a bit more respect, a bit more cooperation in the past. And I'm saying that the reason a lot of that is dissipated and it's so antagonistic today is that men and women are competing out there. That which you compete with and against, you don't fully trust. You keep it at arm's length at best, or it's outright your enemy, it's your adversary. And that which you don't trust, you're not vulnerable to, you're not open to, you don't let it into your life in any meaningful and intimate way. So if we remember that a big part of modernity and gynocentrism and political feminism and sort of the modern woman today that wants to have a career and a family, the two things are opposing each other, not because women shouldn't be allowed to do anything they're capable of doing, it's because they're trying to get two opposing things where they want to have a family with a man, they want to have the respect, protection and love of a man, yet at the same time they want to compete with him out in the world. But if the image we get of women out in the world is something we're always competing with, like other men, we compete with other men like a sport. And if you look at it today with Tinder and the hookup culture, is women have become a sport to us now in a way that they weren't before. Feminists will tell you otherwise, but it's BS. Men used to largely care for women, women and children first, the Titanic, die for women, all that kind of stuff. They were much more in line with nature, and they sacrificed a lot, and they protected women and children a lot more. But now, what are you protecting? You're protecting your adversary, your competition, your enemy out there. You're ostensibly protecting them at home, and it doesn't make sense. A man is trying to sleep with the enemy, sleep with one eye open, because he doesn't fully trust her, because he's competition. And before some of you say, oh well, that's just in the office, you're threatened by women in the office, that's got nothing to do with your pure and trusting wife at home. It's like, no, because men have ears. We hear when women now on dates, let alone if you marry them, they start saying things like, you can't tell me what to do, I'm not going to cook, I'm not going to clean, I want a career, it's not the language that was coming out of the mouths of our grandmothers, great-grandmothers. And it's nothing about keeping women down. But if they want one thing in life, they want one thing that you need to devote yourself to and play in that arena, that competitive arena out in the world, it's cold, it's objective, it's a sport, and there's winners and losers. When we're competing out there with women as an archetype, we dissolve the archetype in the home, in intimacy, the one-on-one of me with another female. If they're my competitor, if they're antagonizing me, can we not see how the competition with women out there is affecting our personal lives? Now, if it's just about individuals economically and financially competing, fine. But one affects the other, and it's disingenuous to pretend that the two can somehow coexist, like, light switches being flicked on and off. And women love doing this, have it all mentality. I'll be a fantastic mother, and I'll be a CEO. It's as ridiculous as I'll be a great father, but I'll work all the time. Yeah, it just struck me how much our personal lives that we work for out there, the financial and economic system, it's not necessarily a fun game. For 95% of us, we tolerate the stress and competition out there because the reward is the intimacy of our personal lives. We pay a big price to get some sort of concentrated intimacy that'll imbue why that's all worth it. But if the competition out there reflects the competition in your home, ladies, do you not understand why men are walking away from marriage, why you can't find a good man, and why men just need their own spaces to compete with each other and with the world, with things, things that you're not that interested in. You're interested in people, not things. Men are interested in things. And if you invade their space out there, and it's not just that it's their space, you nag and intrude into their world and try to compete, mind you, unfairly. A man doesn't respect an unfair competitor who's given concessions, and we give gold medals to women just so we can sort of level the playing field. If a woman can outperform a man fairly, meretriciously, my hat's off to them, full respect. But a man loses even more respect for a woman out there when he's told to lie and call up, down, and call left, right, when a woman who shouldn't even deserve third place gets the gold medal. And he's supposed to respect a cheating competitor out there politically, and then he hears the same language in the house too. Is there any surprise that men need their own space, and then they'll turn inward into the home, make that their space, and say, okay, women, you can have the world. Used to be, I could share my personal and intimate life with you in the home. I could trust you. It was us against the world, and I'll go out into the world and I'll tussle with it. I'll find my adventure out there. I'll compete out there. I'll have sport out there with other men, have blows with each other, and I'll try and win out there. But if I'm now trying to win against women who I have to pretend and, I have to compete with like an arm and a leg tied behind my back and call her great when she's mediocre at something that's statistically measurable and shown that she isn't great. A man who recognizes meritocracy and sees when something is excellent as opposed to mediocre or poor, someone who's after the truth, a man who wants to excel in a field, he can't play in a field of lying cheaters and have a fake bar of excellence to accommodate people that really can't match up to a higher level. So he leaves the fake world and makes a world of his own. At home, video games, not wanting to get married, having nothing to do with women because men need their space. My solution, my humble suggestion is the only way this is going to get fixed is women need to stop nagging and intruding into men's spaces, not because you're not allowed because of some patriarchy or sexism. It's because men need to breathe. Men need to compete with other men and the world and objects and things because they want to rip them apart and excel. They want to climb Mount Everest. They want to go to the moon. They don't want dead weight. They don't want to pretend and play dollhouse with women. They want to compete as far as they can in a real sense. And if you're intruding in the world where they once were able to do that, they'll find another world, which they're doing now, virtually, digitally, online. Men are walking away from women because they've intruded so much into their space. I'd see the only way is that women just need to butt out of men's business, stay out of places they can't compete fairly, and the relationship between the sexes will get better, not because it's sexist, because men need to breathe and women need to stop intruding and competing with men. Remember this if you remember nothing else from this video. And it's not me being pissed off. Like, I'm not intimidated by some strong, successful woman. I'm not. If she's better than me, hats off to her. But statistically speaking, they generally can't compete with men fairly. And if men have to pretend that cheating competitors out there are better than them and listen to them telling men how bad they are, when men kind of know that they're better in so many aspects compared to women, but they have to pretend, yeah, I'm nothing, I'm sorry. It's like when the lights go out, men in their own minds will go, you know what, I can't pretend. I want some reality. And they will move away from women. We can't respect cheating competitors out there in the world. If we can't respect you, we can't trust you, let alone love you intimately. Just realize that, ladies. You can't have it all. You want to compete platonically out there, commercially and financially in the world as an individual, go for it. But men don't respect cheating competitors. And they'll compete with you. They'll take stuff from you. This hookup culture, the men are already playing the cheating game you're playing. They're just taking what they can get from you. There's no reciprocity. There's no honor between men and women now because you're out there competing with what you want to get. Men are going, okay, these are the rules. We have to respect cheating competitors. I'll become a cheating competitor with women too, online in dating. I'll get what I want now. The honor's gone. You know, that's all I can suggest. Women need to stop intruding into male spaces because of their high degree of insecurity. Compete out there in the world with men. Your personal life with men, your intimate, romantic and loving life with men will suffer to the degree that you compete out there with men. And the degree that you compete out there with men, and men will hear it in your language when you start talking like a feminist about rights and careers and patriarchy. We're not threatened by it. We know the archetype of the person that's speaking that. It's a competitor. It's someone we can't fully trust. It would be sleeping with the enemy at home. And when you have the law on your side too, ladies, as well, you can see why men are very resistant to have the intimate, romantic, loving life that our great-grandfathers had with their spouses. It's impossible today. You cannot trust what you compete with. Let that sink in. I hope it's something to chew on. But I think it's a very, very salient and important point that a lot of people overlook because the next sentence is a shame-based. Well, what are you just afraid of competing with women, your male egos? It's like, so he takes up the female challenge of you're just scared of strong, independent women because he wants to be on women's side because she wants him to compete with him out in the world, albeit unfairly though. And the next thing is his instinct likes competition. But they're pulling themselves away from the intimacy that's causing people to be depressed, not have enough people around them, be alone, feel isolated, not know what they want to do, and have very little human, meaningful connection. You cannot trust, nor respect, nor love what you compete with. It's your adversary. I think it's a very, very important point that a lot of us just wave off as though it's nothing. It is one of the most central things out there that's driving us further and further apart. Something to chew on. I'll talk to you next time. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment, link, or share my videos around. There are donation options below this content as well if you feel like supporting me. I appreciate all of you who have and continue to. Thank you.